Welcome back, everybody, to another The Community's Had Enough of These Young Robbers episode of Lockdown 23 and 1. That's right, the community's had enough, and so is the Honorable Judge West. That's right, we're going into a Texas courtroom once again. Yesterday, we were in the same courtroom with the same judge going in front of a defendant with the same kind of crimes, robbery, and he was sentenced to 25 years, a teen. And the defendant in this case as well is a teen. Wonder if he's going to get the same kind of outcome. I'll break down exactly why he's in the courtroom before we get into the sentencing. But first, as always, if you're new to the channel and enjoy all things lockup and crime related, then this is absolutely where you need to be. Hit that like, subscribe, notification bell before you leave, and check out my playlist with many more videos for you to start watching today. Alright, so like I said, I'm going to give you a quick rundown on why this defendant's in here. Also, a little comparison. Yesterday's case, like I said, a teenager was sentenced to 25 years for aggravated robbery. If I remember correctly, he put a gun to a 14-year-old's head, took his dirt bike, and a little bit of money. He had no adult criminal record, but a lengthy juvenile record, many probation violations, and was sentenced, like I said, to 25 years. Now, this individual that we're going to witness get sentenced today is Caden Fontanet. Hopefully I pronounced that right. He's 18. He pled guilty to aggravated robbery, just like the defendant in yesterday's case. But in this case, the charges reportedly stem from Fontanet's role in a violent robbery and assault of a Bulldog Express convenience store clerk in Nederland in October 2025. Fontanet and two others used a gun to carry out the holdup. Surveillance video captured the moment one suspect brandished an apparent assault-style rifle and struck the clerk. Fontanet and the two additional suspects were taken into custody the same day. It doesn't go into detail on if this individual had a long criminal history, if he was like the ringleader, or just a getaway driver. I don't know. Hopefully they break it down a little bit more for us today in the courtroom. So prepare yourself. Hopefully you got your khakis and smoke-proof turtleneck on. Because from what I just read, this dude might just be getting a Chattanooga train cloud, long as the sun set.
Good morning. Are you Caden
Yes.
Fontanet? And this is 25 DCCR 1759. Mr. Fontanet was previously in court, entered a plea of guilty to the first-degree felony offense of aggravated robbery. It was an unagreed plea. I've received the pre-sentence report. Have you both had an opportunity to review that report?
We have, Your Honor. The state has, Judge.
Are there any additions or corrections to the report?
Not from the defense, not from the state, Judge.
Now, the judge said something very important. The defendant's taking an unagreed plea, which in the courtrooms I've seen is also called an open plea. And it says here means a defendant pleads guilty or no contest to a charge without a negotiated agreement with the prosecutor on the sentence. Instead of agreeing to a specific term of punishment, the defendant leaves the final sentencing decision entirely to the judge. And a lot of people might be saying, why on earth would you plead guilty with no kind of plea deal? Well, a lot of attorneys will break down the situation and say, hey, if you go in there fighting the crime when the evidence stacked 100% against you, completely lying, saying all that evidence is false, and run the risk of getting the courts mad like you're playing them for a fool, could get more time. That's what a lot of defendants and defense attorneys are probably thinking. So they'd rather go with the flow, plead guilty, agree to all the evidence, take full responsibility for their actions, and hopefully the judge will take that into consideration and give them a lighter sentence. But sometimes it doesn't work. Which route do you think would end better if all the evidence was against you? Let me know in the comment section below what you would do.
I've received the pre-sentence report. Have you both had an opportunity to review that report?
We have, Your Honor. The state has, Judge.
Are there any additions or corrections to the report?
Not from the defense, not from the state, Judge.
And Mr. Coleman, you said you have a witness or some evidence.
Actually, Judge, Mr. Rojas has graciously stipulated to the admission of the surveillance video from the convenience store in question. So
Okay.
I need to call my custodian record. With the court's permission, first of all, I'm offering states one. No, Judge.
Make that states two, because this one was the plea admonishment documentation, please.
I'm offering states two.
Alright, so keep in mind, the defendant's already guilty. The prosecution, though, wants to show the court some surveillance video, which is probably going to show the defendant doing a lot of gruesome activities during that robbery. And typically when they play that before sentencing, it's because they want the courts to give you a lot of time. Also, they want the courts and the people to see how drastic of a crime it is and not to be shocked when they get sentenced to the max or a lengthy amount of time. If they didn't show the video and they were just left to wording, chances are a lot of people probably would have said he got sentenced to too much time, right? So videos speak louder than words if you were to ask me, especially in situations like this.
Okay, thank you.
I'm not gonna lie, when I first seen this dude, he kind of reminded me of Crip
Any other
Mac.
evidence, or witnesses?
So just brief argument if I may.
Any other evidence or, witnesses for, Mr. Rojas?
No, Your Honor, just like.
Mr. Rojas, you may make argument first.
Thank
Go
you,
ahead.
Judge. And obviously, after seeing that video, it makes what we're asking for harder to do. And what we're here asking for this morning, Judge, is probation.
Oh man, this attorney's fumbling the ball and the defendant knows it.
And what we're here asking for this morning, Judge, is probation. Mr. Fontenot's defendant, he is a young offender.
Jeez.
I know the court is tired of hearing the same story over and over, and young guys with guns in here. He's got a limited criminal history. I believe this is his first felony. He's never been on any kind of felony supervision or felony probation. Unfortunately, he's just fallen into the same situation that we see so many other youthful offenders fall into. He's got no direction in life. He's very little support at home. Sees no way out of the situation that he's in, so he goes and decides to rob a store and get some money. Did the wrong thing. And if his story in the PSI is to be believable for what I believe is the right reason, he's trying to help his mom out at home, he's trying to pay some bills, keep the lights on. Certainly, there are better ways to go about doing that. And I hope that the time in jail has taught Mr. Fontenot that. We've got options here, Judge. We can send him to prison or we can put him on probation. Certainly, he's on the road if this conduct continues, he's on the road with prison. I don't know that the day is the best time to make that exit for him. He's got a long life to live. We can send him to prison. He can be there for a few years and come back out. I don't know that he's going to get the help that he really needs in prison.
Man, I would have fired him right then and there. You're mentioning prison way too much, bro. Reverse it. Probation. God, man. Fumbling all the way to the end zone.
Probation, that if he's serious about turning his life around, like he says in the PSI, those programs can help him. And if he does take advantage of those, it in turn would make the community a little bit safer. Because there'd be one less guy running around with a gun when he does get out of prison, if that were the road that you chose to take.
Bro, you're already putting me in prison.
I'm living at home with his mom. I think he has some younger siblings there. To his benefit, before he was arrested, he started a GED. I think on the night that this happened, he had just finished a GED class and made a dumb decision to go hang out with these guys that he should not have been hanging out with, and did this robbery. Again, Judge, you've got two options. You can send him to prison, or you can try to get him some help on probation, and hopefully he will take advantage of that. And certainly if he doesn't, we're going to know pretty quick, and you'll have another chance to send him to prison probably for a longer time.
Again?
Thank you.
Anyone count how many times the defense attorney said send him to prison? Even if it wasn't in that kind of light, man, it don't matter. The word prison should never come out my defense attorney's mouth. Only probation.
What is the status of the other two? Are there co-defendants? Have they been charged?
They have been charged, Judge, and I have both of their cases, Judge.
And they have not been sentenced yet? Or
This is vital, especially into the jail political system with inmates. He's the cream of the crop, first to get going. And two other individuals as co-defendants were a part of the crime as well. In jail, many times these guys get housed together and find out that they're dropping dime on each other, trying to save their own asses, end up fighting, maybe even sometimes getting killed. In jail or prison, having co-defendants can be very dangerous, but this dude took an open plea, nothing guaranteed, so if I were to guess, he's been holding his water pretty good. Probably didn't say nothing about the other co-defendants, and that will change the situation in jail. He could go around his co-Ds in any block and be perfectly fine. They'll probably run the block. At the same time, though, those co-Ds are watching exactly what happens to him, and when they find out how much time he gets, if I were to guess, I'd be shivering in my timbers. But a lot of what I'm saying is just mere speculation, just kind of breaking down the process of what happens in jail when it comes down to co-Ds. I'm not saying any of that's related to this situation, I'm just saying.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Coleman.
Yeah, I'll be brief. Whether it's the Pine Club Apartments or Rogers Park or a Speedy Mart, you've seen this, and we've seen this in this community all too often. I'm preaching to the choir, Judge. Prayer vigils and advisory committees, all that stuff's fine, but you judge where the rubber meets the road. You are that person that can protect the community from somebody like this defendant you are that person that can either let him walk out of this courtroom on probation with a piece of paper with conditions and promises that he won't resort to this kind of violence that you saw on that video, or you can ensure that the community is safe by putting him behind steel bars, concrete wall, and razor wire fence. Uh, uh, Judge, I'm just asking, I'm not in the habit of begging, but on behalf of this community, I'm begging that you
Oh
send this
my.
defendant to prison. The message that needs to be sent to this defendant and his circle of friends and anybody who would want to be like this defendant
Oh
is that if you pick up a
no.
gun with the intent to commit violence, you're gonna pick up a 15, 20, 25-year prison sentence, Judge.
I have never in my lucky 39 stars years of life seen a prosecutor beg the judge for a defendant to go to the penitentiary. Not even the defense attorney begged the judge for his freedom. Just kept letting the judge know the option of prison. This defendant knows. As soon as that prosecutor was saying all that, man, he looked up at the sky. He knew that cloud of smoke is on its way.
Just asking that you do this on behalf of people who live at the Pine Club apartments, who just want to live in peace, people who want to go take a walk at Rogers Park and not be robbed, and somebody that wants to stop at a Speedy Mart convenience store and pick up some snacks without becoming a victim of a robbery. That's all I have, Judge.
Thank you, Mr. Coleman. So, Mr. Fontenette, there was a time some years ago that there really wasn't even a question. Everyone, state's attorneys were recommending youthful offenders, probation. Let's give everybody an opportunity. And things have just changed in such an incredibly dangerous way with young people doing what I just saw you do on that screen. I cannot imagine the fear that that person had that was working in that store, that he now has, just trying to go to work, make a living, and go home. And he has 3 people come in and not just grab a little quick something and run out, but terrorize him for quite some time. Pulling him around, yanking him around, putting guns in his face, all 3 of you. Also, in addition to the PSI, get jail incident reports.
Oh, no.
And you apparently like to fight and jump people, which is what's been happening in the jail. So it makes it very difficult for me to go, oh, this is somebody that's going to get out and behave, who can follow the rules, because you can't even follow the rules in jail.
Once again, another comparison to yesterday's case. She brought up an incident report of the defendant in jail. He wasn't following the rules and regulations either. I mean, the more the video goes, the more identical it is. And that would match what the prosecution's saying about the rise of these kind of crimes.
And the pre-sentence report shows that you're a high risk level, which tells me that after they've looked at everything, that you don't have, unfortunately, a good likelihood of being successful if I were to put you on probation. And Mr. Coleman's right. We're tired of it. And there's got to be something done. So in cause number 25, DCCR 1759, I'm going to find that you entered your plea of guilty freely and voluntarily. I'm going to find sufficient evidence to find you guilty. And at this time, I'm going to find you guilty of aggravated robbery. I'm going to sentence you to a term of 25 years in the institutional division.
Oh no. The family can't believe it. 25 years
in the institutional division of the Texas Department of Corrections. You will receive credit on that sentence for any time that you've been in custody that the law gives you the right to receive. I'm handing you the trial court certification. This was not an agreement. You have some rights to appeal.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Another 25 clip. You can't say that the Honorable Judge West is not consistent. I mean, just imagine if she was and he got a slap on the wrist. People would be saying to consistency, there's none there. And me personally, I hate to see that. 2 similar cases, one person gets absolutely smoked, the other person gets, a little bit of probation. That just, kind of irks me. Either way, hopefully y'all learned something from this, especially people thinking about going to rob something, or maybe even someone that's been doing robberies for many years. Let this be a rude awakening, man. Change from your ways starting today. Get out there and try to find yourself a job like everybody else. Money might not be as quick, but at the same time, you're not facing decades in prison. But I'm out of here, ladies and gentlemen. Until the next time, as always, if you're new to the channel and enjoy, hit that like, subscribe, notification bell before you leave. And as always, y'all be easy, be safe, and more importantly than anything, stay free.